All right, girls, welcome to our call tonight. We hope that you enjoyed the content that was shared in the group today. Some amazing stories, some great information as far as what we do as coaches, kind of what it takes to make this business work and make that time for yourself if that's something that you're looking to do. Also, the grit and the consistency and how to make yourself successful. All of those posts were so amazing and informative. And I'm so grateful for Caitlin, Mindy, Katie, and Clarissa for all helping lead this group today because it was great, you guys. So thank you so much for that. And we thank you all for taking the time to read over the content and be present in the group. Remember, if you ever have questions, we are open books. Just ask. There is no silly question. Ask if it's on your heart and we'll be more than happy to answer for you, okay? Because we all had our own little things that we were unsure of, that we needed to kind of have peace with or maybe learn a little bit more about before we enrolled as coaches too. So we are definitely open books. Let us know if you have any questions, okay? I'm going to kick off our closing call tonight. I am Corey Mayo. So I kind of had the welcoming post this morning to get the party started. And Mindy, Kate, and myself are going to kind of close things out with a little bit about us and our personal journeys through this coaching opportunity. And I'm already starting to sweat, you guys, because I took the topic of talking about money, and money can be a really uncomfortable conversation. It can be a really uncomfortable topic to talk about. And it's still not something I'm super comfortable about talking about with other people. But I'm getting better at it because money really it comes with like this negative connotation that you like, just because you desire to have more or you strive to have more in life, or you want to have that freedom and that comfort in life, that you're maybe greedy or you're shallow because you're pushing for bigger things. But as I've gone through personal development and as I've gone and grown through this journey, I've been able to do so much more and make a greater impact to those people around me, not just for my own family, but being able to do more for our community and things around us. And so I will talk a little bit more about that. So I I ask you to I ask for permission to speak on this topic because I know that it can kind of tug some heartstrings and it is a tough topic to listen to or talk about. But I also ask that you kind of keep an open mind because this is a business and this business has no ceiling. It is an opportunity for you to do with it what you want. You can impact a lot of people's lives with positivity and inspiration and health and wellness and support and community, and also make a really good income for yourself and your family at the same time. So one of my biggest hesitations before I enrolled to become a coach was money. We didn't have the money. We were living paycheck to paycheck and barely making ends meet. We were living on credit cards just to make ends meet or to have the newest and greatest things, because our priorities were having the nice TVs, the nice and newest cell phones, having nice clothes, the things that really didn't matter, right? But when it came to like investing in food or Shakeology or our wellness, we weren't there yet. We weren't willing to spend that money until I started to kind of dive into starting my own journey and realizing I really needed this, right? I really needed to focus on myself and my health to be better for myself. But at that time, it was more so to be better for our son that we had at the time. We just had one little boy at the time. So that's kind of where we started. But my hesitation was we were living paycheck to paycheck. So I saved up money to purchase a challenge pack. And back then, you literally got one program, Shakeology, and like a little booklet of recipes. And that was it for $220. Y'all, like one program on DVDs, Shakeology, and just a little book of recipes, not all this information that we have now about nutrition programs and recipes and guided information to help you succeed, and a whole library of workouts to stream. But I had to save the money, okay? And so with coaching, I didn't really start right away. It took me about 18 months before I really started to share more and invite more and connect with more people and really start treating this business like a business and not just a hobby. Because in the beginning, I was helping people. I was making a little bit of money here and there, but it was just more so like a referral, if that makes sense. Like I was feeling good. I was in a good place. I believed in the products and what we had to offer. So I was just sharing a little bit here and there. But about 18 months in, I really decided that I was going to make a business of it and I was going to help other women because I had totally transformed my life. I had lost over 60 pounds. My husband lost over 60 pounds. We had been keeping it off. We had two very healthy little boys, and life was really good. And I was really successful for a long time, making a few $100s a week to help support our family. And that was just on helping 5 to 10 women every single month and being consistent in that. But it's when I really linked arms with the beautiful women that you see on the screen that we really created this mission. Because at the end of the day, this is a business and we do make money. But at the end of the day, I know that all three of us would still show up and do this every single day, even if we didn't get a paycheck, because we love what we do that freaking much. The fact that we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and work and read and do our personal development, and we connect with our friends and make sure that our challengers are doing well and connect with them and just are that hype girl, as Kate says, or that support system for other women. It's because we love it. Okay. It's not because of the money. But the money does make life easier, especially for us, because we were living paycheck to paycheck when we started. And so to make it short, because you guys, I've been a coach for 9 years. So there is a whole day's worth of what this opportunity has done for us. But as I kind of started talking about in the beginning, we've been able to create not total freedom yet, but we're getting there, and we are very comfortable. We have a very significant savings. Our boys, about 6 years ago, we started a mutual fund for them so that when they go to college, we're not going to have to worry about it because there's money just stacking for them, and it's something that I contribute to every month, and it continues to grow. And so that takes the stress off of me and my husband, because we know that we're going to be able to support them. And even if they don't go to college, they're going to have something to start their lives, right? They're going to have something to kind of get going. We've been able to pay off a lot of debt. Something that I love to do, and we've been able to do on a much bigger scale this past Christmas, is we connect with a needy family at Christmas time, and we shower them with gifts. We make it possible for their family to have Christmas. And it's something that my mom always did as a kid, when I was a kid growing up. And so I've kind of followed in her footsteps. And this year we were able to contribute almost 4 times as much money as we have each year previous. And that's because of this business. It's because our mission of helping empower other women and linking arms to continue to connect and help others has grown that significantly in the last 8 to 9 months. We are able to contribute to organizations that are 501c3s that are near and dear to our hearts so that we can help support that part of the community and the changes that they are working to create as well. So while it can be anything you want it to be, if you just need an extra $100 a week or $100 every couple of weeks to help with groceries, or you want to have something that you can start setting away for your kids for college, or you want to be able to take 2 family vacations and pay them in cash every year, or you want to be able to live your dream life and have your dream home and have complete freedom, that's up to you. Nobody's telling you which paycheck you get to take. It's you deciding how much effort you're going to put in and how much work you put in, and you get to reap the benefits of that work. So I hope that clarifies things a little bit for you and kind of just opens up your mind a little bit to yes, money's hard to talk about and sometimes it's a struggle, but it can also do so much good. It can release so much stress and pressure too when we start thinking about the possibilities that it brings rather than the stresses that we carry. I'm going to pass it off to Mindy and she's going to share her story with you guys.
All right. Thank you everybody for being here, especially those that are bearing with us with the technical difficulties and jumped onto Zoom. So apologize if you're forced to watch the recording, but it's still good. So my story, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do and why I love what we do, but kind of weave my story in there. So some of you may have already heard bits and pieces of my story, maybe have been on one of these coach sneak peeks before. So I'm just going to touch on a little bit here and there. But I want to focus more on the why and how it's impactful in my life by being a coach and what that could look like for you. So before I started coaching, I was married and I was in a relationship, and my ex-husband is and was still is a drug addict. And so I was with him for, I want to say like 14 years before we finally got divorced. But as our relationship progressed, as his addiction progressed, I was extremely codependent. So if you're not sure what that means, or if you've never heard that word before, it is where you are very, like, your emotions, your mental health, your state of being is very wrapped up in another person. And it's very unhealthy. And it could be like, for me, it was, I had an addict as a partner. It could be if you have you're caring for an elderly parent or grandparent in your day, that is all you think about, that's all you do. Maybe a special needs child, anything like that, where your mental health and physical health is just so wrapped up in another person and how they're doing and how they're feeling. That's how you feel. And you make no time for yourself. You do nothing for yourself. You're just giving, 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 but you're not getting anything in return, and you're not filling your cup, and you're not, like, for me, I was very shut off from the outside world. A lot of secrets, a lot of, I couldn't, I guess I could, but I chose not to talk to people. I didn't even talk to, like, my sisters about things like that were happening in my life. And it takes a toll on you. So when I got started with Beachbody, I had just split from my ex. We weren't divorced yet, but we had just split. I had moved 3 hours away. I had started a brand new career, bought a house, became a single mom. All of this, like, virtually almost overnight. I mean, it was within a very short, probably 3-month time frame. And so there was just so much going on. And I now found myself in a place where I was no longer in that codependent relationship. So I was pouring myself into my new job and just going through the motions and still living in that place where I wasn't allowing myself to feel emotions. I wasn't allowing myself to reach out to the outside world. I mean, it was the same kind of thing. It had just changed from him to now my work and what my new life was. And Corey had reached out to me about joining a challenge group and getting started. And I would say it probably was about 6 weeks of her and I talking before I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I got into it. Immediately was like, okay, like, this is something that I love. Like, the community piece, I didn't have a community like that. I didn't have people that I talked to that shared that kind of interest, that said, hey, I'm going to do something for me. I'm going to do something where I'm putting myself first and I'm taking care of myself. Like, that was a foreign concept to me. And then here's all these women where they're like, hey, and they're cheering you on and they're like, yeah, you can do this. Like, let's get up and work out. Let's eat right. Let's, focus on ourselves and our mindset. And that was just so bizarre for me. Now that's my life. But back then it was so bizarre. So 2.5 years goes by, and along the way, Corey had been saying, I think you would make a great coach. I think you would, listen I could excel in me. And that sounds weird, but I always did very well, like in my career and my job and things like that. But I never really put a lot of confidence in like that I could excel at being me, at just being me, right? So when I started coaching, it was like another whole like chapter opened up and just became a completely different person. And when I say that, it's because of what we do as coaches. So I have never in my life had a job where the number one priority was me, my physical health, my mental health, my well-being, that I am eating right, that I am, taking care of myself physically, that I am filling myself with, personal development and things that are going to, fill my cup. I've never had that. It was always about profit, about bottom line, about what we need to do to be profitable. So, like Corey was saying before with the money, like that is a huge, huge benefit to it. But this is the first job that I feel like I am fulfilled in a way that I never have been before. And I would do it if I got paid $0, just for that reason. So you have like number one priority is take care of yourself. Just completely, just, I mean, for me, mind blown. Okay. So you mean I'm going to spend time focusing on me and not my kids and my job and, my ex and all this other stuff, but just me, like that was, that had me. Number two priority is to take care of you guys. Like we're here to make sure that you're getting the results that you want, that you're meeting your goals, that you are filling your cup, that you are, just expanding and spreading your wings and finding that time for you, because we all need that. That's like our number two. So we're serving others and we're serving ourselves. And that is like, for me, just completely just a paradigm shift from what my life was before, and kind of like my thoughts about like what a job was, what a career was, what a mother did, how an employee acted. It was totally a different focus. And I mean, as much as I love all of it, I'm not gonna lie, there are hard days. There are days where, like Corey said, 4 o'clock rolls around and I'm like, I do not want to get out of bed. Like I am so snuggly and tired and I don't want to get out of bed. And then I think to myself, I know Corey's on the other end of that computer and she's gonna be up and working and she's out helping people and she's making herself and her business a priority. And I am not going to let her down and I'm not going to let me down. And I'm going to get my ass up and I'm going to get on the damn computer and I'm going to work. And she's there with me every day. And then Caitlin jumps on and then Katie jumps on and then Kylie jumps on. And then we're all there. And it is this community, this team that we're working together. And then we get our time in, that we are doing our personal development, or that we are, having conversations with people and we're inviting them because we're so freaking excited about what we do. And then we get our workout in and then we're, doing that part of it and filling our cup and getting ready. And then for me, I switch to mom mode and I get the kids up, get them ready, and I go to work and I work for 9-10 hours a day and I pick the kids up and I come home and I'm getting them dinner and in bed. And then I'm like sneaking back off to do more because it doesn't feel like a job, because it feels like what I want to do because of what it does to me and the way that it makes me feel to be out helping others. Like you just don't get that elsewhere. So that was, I guess, just a little bit of my story, but part of why I love what we do. And it is a completely just a different mindset. And Katie mentioned it in her story earlier today too. And she's like, the person I am now versus the person I was 6 months ago, it's totally different. And I'll say to you, Katie, and to the rest of you, 6 months from now, you will be a totally different person. And you'll look back and like, oh my gosh, I've grown so much. And it just constantly goes and goes and goes. And it's amazing. So I'm going to pass it off to Caitlin now, and she's gonna give you a little bit of her story.
All right, guys. So I'm going to talk about community tonight. I would probably throw hands to argue that it is the most important aspect of all of this, because it's something that if you are leaning in because I will say, like, this is certainly something where the effort and the amount that you're going to lean in is what you're going to receive from it. So that is something that is super, super important throughout this whole process. Same with the wellness groups, same with the coaching. And if you are leaning in, the community hits you from the very beginning, which to me is why it is so important. And I'm not necessarily talking about Beachbody. Beachbody is amazing. Like, I love our company's mission. We have an amazing CEO. Like, the group of people are great, but this tribe, specifically you guys, is so incredible. You know, Beachbody, part of my story, you know, Beachbody has been a part of my life for years and years and years and years, but I never took it seriously until 2018. And 2018 in January, I was a brand spanking new mom who like loved her little girl. Like, I loved being a mom. I was one of those weird people that liked being pregnant. Like, I was all about the things. But you guys, I was drowning in literally every other aspect of my life. And I felt like I had very little support during that time frame, unless you count it as somebody coming over because they want to take a selfie with the baby, or like tell me the things that I should or should not do, like, hey, you need to, you know, change her more or hold her less or whatever it may be. Like, I remember one time I was sitting I'm sitting at my dining room table right now, and I was sitting here, we had our in-laws over, and I think Eve was like just a couple weeks old, and I was just sitting there at the table. We were gonna have dinner, and I just had like, I was quiet, and I said tears like running down my face because I was so anxious. I was so overwhelmed. I was not sleeping. And Eve was in a bouncer on the table, and she'd started to cry. And someone immediately looked at me and said, hey, you probably need to change your diaper. And I only changed it like 2 minutes before. And like, me saying that, like, that's not really that big of a deal. But like, when you're in like that mindset and like everything going on, and like for me, it was just one of those things where it's like, wow, like, I am literally sitting here dying and no one can see me. And so it was very, very hard. And then I felt like when people did see me, I was labeled as somebody who was just angry all the time or manipulative or like a monster or whatever it may be, because this anxiety and all these feelings that I had, like, I was not able to process any of it. I was so underwater in all of it. And it was such a difficult time. And like, I would be, you know, so happy in my little bubble with Eve during the day. And then my nights were spent like sitting in the shower, like feeling lonely and crying. Like, that was my postpartum life for a while. And, you know, I just, mentally, my health was shit. Physically, my health had gone down the drain. Like, I was in a really, really, really bad place, just to kind of set you up for that. So enter Beachbody, or really, I mean, specifically, you could enter Corey Mayo. So she is my coach. We were old acquaintances from college, and we did not talk. Like, we were together in college for 2 years. She seemed super nice. We didn't talk anywhere after that. So she's basically like a stranger at this point. And she had the audacity to send me a message through Facebook and ask me like how I was doing. Like, and like, thank God that she did, because, you know, all these people that were around me, you know, she was like the only one who ever like asked like how I was. So, and if I start crying here, you guys, I'm really sorry. It's been kind of a rough day, so you're welcome. So she was the only one who really saw who I was. She was the only one who ever really asked about me, and not in like a way that it was like, hey, like, how are you doing with the baby? Or how are you doing after I had an emergency C-section? Like, how is your C-section? How are things, you know, with Quentin back to work? Or how is this? Or how is that? No, she just asked like how I was. And she was the only person that did that. You know, and I became a coach quite early on after talking to her, because I had taken Shakeology way back in the day. I knew that it was legit. I wanted it, and I wanted the discount, and I was like, I don't care, I'm going to make it work. So I became a discount coach really early on, and I told Corey, I was like, I want to work it at some point. I want to work it. Like, the whole money thing for me was like on a pedestal, and I was like, okay, I want that life. But I also had so much mental baggage that I was unwilling to unpack. So so my journey is far from perfect. I spiraled a lot. I would work a little bit and then things would happen and I would fall off the radar. And like, she was just always there. Like, I remember, and I've told this before, but like, I remember one time sitting at my kitchen table, I was feeding a 5-month-old Eve. And like, I'm pretty sure she called me about some business thing. And I was just sitting there crying to her on the phone because I was just like a hot mess about who knows what. And like, she was like, it didn't matter if I was working really hard in the business or like having issues like personally, like she was always there to talk to. So like, that's never lost on me. And I don't know, like I was in such desperate need of some sort of like emotional support, and that's what she was there for me for. So I don't know, it probably took me about 2 years to finally get myself figured out, which has nothing to do with Corey, has nothing to do with Beachbody. It was, again, me trying to skip some steps and trying to do all these things before I'd like dealt with this like elephant in the room that was my mental health. So when I finally did things right, I could move forward. And you guys, like, having Corey as my community during like that super dark time in my life was amazing. But then like when I was finally able to start leaning in with her, because for a while it felt like it was her coaching and then it was me when I would show up and when I showed up, and that was about it. And then, we all started leaning in, and like July is like stars aligned month for us. And I don't know, like we started to create this amazing team, this amazing community. And so all of a sudden, we're surrounded by these incredible women. Like, you guys, we built this team. Like, some of those women you see here tonight, there are so many others that you don't, and they are incredible. They are there to cheer you on. They are there to support you, to work with you, to cry with you, to be crazy and silly. Like, we all got together, a bunch of us in Ohio a couple weeks ago, and we were cutting the fuck up, you guys. Like, we were those obnoxious people in the restaurant that everybody's like, dude, get them the hell out of here. They're so loud and they're cussing, and like there's a little kid running around, and like we don't ever see each other, like ever, other than like what you're seeing right now. So it's just like, it's like family. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you have to be a part of it, because I can't explain to you how amazing it feels unless you're a part of it. And guys, I am a person who was like, I am not, I didn't have a lot of girlfriends growing up. I was like, oh gosh, girls, there's too much drama. There's too much like side eyes and superficial smiles, and I just can't deal with their shit. And these women, like, I promise you, I'm sure there's some kind of science to it, and you may be shocked, but like, there is no drama with this group of women, like none whatsoever. Like, and I think, there is an explanation to it, and it's that we all work on ourselves. We all understand where the other person's coming from. There's no like, we all are working through our own shit, and we're seeing each other work through their own stuff. And so like, there's never any like preconceived notions or judgments or like any of that junk that, insecurities and all that stuff comes up with. So there is something to be said too about being in a circle of people who truly care about you, who want to see you succeed and not just in business, but they want to see you succeed in life. Like, these women, they're not only here to cheer you on in your coaching business and to cheer you on in your wellness and your health, but they're sending you texts to say happy birthday. They're sending your kids Christmas presents, for crying out loud. Like, this community is so amazing. And yes, like, the business is fun. The business is so fun. It is so fulfilling. Like, there is no explaining that feeling of, I mean, every time, but especially that first time that you get a message from a client about something that they've succeeded in, there's no explaining how amazing that feels. So the business is amazing. You get in the best shape of your life. You start feeling fantastic about yourself. And yes, financially, the possibilities are literally limitless. Like, you can do whatever you want. But you guys, this community, like this, my coach, saved my fucking life. So, these women are my best friends. They're people that I will never go my life without. And it's just all because of that one silly message that I should probably like scroll through my Facebook messages to get and like put that shit in a frame or something. So if you are looking for a tribe, like we are all like, just for an example, like Corey and Mindy and I, we are so polar opposite in certain ways, so different, completely different backgrounds, completely different like personalities. And our whole team is like that. And we all just mesh. Like we all just mesh. We all love each other for who we are. And I don't think I've ever been a part of any kind of group of people in general ever, like even my own damn family, that, we all get along like that. So again, we are so appreciative of the time that you've taken, whether you're watching the call now or you're taking time to watch the recording. We understand, taking time out of your day is definitely, it's no small feat in these busy lives that we all lead. So we so appreciate that. If you do have any more information that you would like to obtain, or you have questions, please reach out to the coach that invited you to this, and we will be more than happy to help you. You can also post messages in the thread, like in the post we have at the end here. You can put comments or questions there with any feedback or anything. But that's about it, guys. So we just hope you have a beautiful night.